Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into something that's reshaping how enterprises actually get work done. Agenetic AI Development for Enterprise Workflows in 2026. We've got Sam here to break down what's happening, especially for organizations in places like Utrecht that need to balance innovation with strict EU compliance. Sam, this feels like a pivotal moment for AI in business. What's drawing you to this topic?
Absolutely, Alex. The shift from AI as a tool to AI as an autonomous agent is fundamentally different. We're not talking about chatbots answering questions anymore. We're talking about systems that perceive their environment, set goals, plan actions, and execute them with minimal human handholding. McKinsey data shows 55% of enterprises are already seeing measurable productivity gains from generative AI. And here's the kicker. 73% of those improvements come from agentic systems, specifically in customer service, content creation, and lead generation.
73%, that's huge. But I'm curious about the distinction you're making. When you say agents are different from traditional AI tools, what does that actually look like in practice? What can an agent do that a regular AI system can't?
Great question. Traditional AI is reactive. You ask it something, it answers. An agent is proactive and contextual. Agents break down complex tasks into subtasks, sequence them logically, call APIs and databases without waiting for human approval, and crucially, they adapt in real time based on feedback. They remember decisions across workflows that might span hours or days. And when things get uncertain, they escalate appropriately rather than making blind guesses. Gartner reported that 42% of enterprise software projects now incorporate agentic workflows. That's up from just 8% in 2023. We're talking about a 5-fold jump in 2 years.
That adoption curve is wild. Now, we're specifically talking about Utrecht and the Netherlands. Why is location and compliance such a big deal when we're building these systems?
Because the EU AI Act changes everything. Utrecht is a tech hub. Over 4,000 tech companies, multiple Fortune 500 regional offices. But unlike Silicon Valley, you can't just build fast and break things. Every AI agent you deploy has to be auditable, transparent, and compliant from day one. The EU AI Act demands that enterprises demonstrate they understand what their AI systems are doing and why. That's not a feature, it's a legal requirement.
So compliance isn't something you bolt on at the end. It's baked into the architecture from the start. Let's talk about how that actually works. You mentioned RAG systems and MCP servers. Can you unpack those for listeners who might not be deep in the AI weeds?
Absolutely. Start with RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. Traditional AI models rely on whatever they were trained on. RAG lets your agent dynamically pull relevant context from your own data, your databases, documents, knowledge bases, before generating responses. So instead of a model just guessing, it's grounding every answer in your actual proprietary information. For enterprise use, that's critical because it reduces hallucinations and ensures accuracy.
And hallucinations, that's where the AI confidently makes stuff up, right? That's a nightmare in regulated industries.
Exactly. Imagine an AI agent handling financial documents or healthcare data and confidently inventing information. Compliance nightmare, legal liability nightmare. Our approach structures RAG pipelines with vector embeddings of your enterprise data indexed for sub-50 millisecond retrieval, hybrid search combining semantic and keyword matching, and quality gates that ensure retrieved context meets confidence thresholds before the agent even uses it. Every piece of data is traceable back to its source for audit purposes.
That traceability is key. You've got a case study about a Utrecht investment firm. Walk us through that real-world example.
Perfect. This firm was processing 500-plus client documents monthly. Contracts, regulatory filings, compliance records, all in different formats. Manual review was eating 60 hours every month. We deployed a RAG-based agent that retrieves regulatory frameworks, company policies, and client histories, then analyzes documents against all that context. The agent now completes the same work in 2 hours with 94% accuracy verified against human reviewers. But here's the crucial part. Every decision is traceable. The firm can show regulators exactly which policies and frameworks informed each decision. That's not just efficient, it's defensible.
2 hours instead of 60 hours, that's transformational for a business. You also mentioned model context protocol servers for tool orchestration. What's that doing in the picture?
MCP is how agents talk to the outside world safely and standardly. Think of it as a standardized protocol that lets your agent integrate with APIs, databases, and specialized systems without reinventing integration every single time. It's like having a translator between your agent and all the different tools it needs to access. That matters for enterprise because you typically have legacy systems, modern APIs, databases, CRMs, all of it needs to work together seamlessly.
So the agent becomes this orchestrator that can actually use all your existing business infrastructure without breaking it.
Exactly. And because MCP is standardized, it's also auditable and secure. You control what tools the agent can access, you log every interaction, and you can revoke access instantly if needed. That's how you build enterprise-grade agents that regulators can actually trust.
Let's get practical. If a company in Utrecht is sitting on the fence about implementing Agentic AI, what should they actually do first? Where does this journey start?
Start by auditing your current workflows and identifying which ones are document-heavy, repetitive, or knowledge-intensive. Those are your quick wins for Agentic AI. Then assess your data readiness. Do you have clean, accessible data that an agent can learn from? Third, understand your compliance requirements. Don't skip this step. What does the EU AI Act actually mean for your specific use cases? Finally, prototype with a single workflow before going enterprise-wide. Pick something that's painful enough to motivate change, but not so critical that failure cascades.
Start small, understand the legal landscape, validate the approach. That's smart risk management. What about the skills gap? Do companies need to hire entirely new teams to build this stuff?
Not entirely, but they do need hybrid teams. You need people who understand AI capabilities and limitations, people who know your enterprise architecture and integrations, and crucially, people who understand EU regulatory requirements. You don't necessarily need to hire dozens of specialists. You need the right mix of internal expertise, external partnerships, and potentially platforms that abstract away some of the complexity. But ignoring the regulatory piece and just hiring engineers, that's how you build beautiful systems that can't be deployed.
That's a really important point. You can have perfect technology that simply doesn't meet the legal and governance requirements. So we're really talking about building from compliance up, not patching it in afterward.
Bingo. And here's what excites me. Enterprises that do this right don't just get compliant systems, they get better systems. Because when you're forced to think about explainability, auditability, and data quality from day one, you end up with agents that are more robust, more trustworthy, and more predictable. That's the competitive advantage.
So the constraint becomes an asset rather than a burden. Listeners, if you want the full technical breakdown, the complete case study details, and the architectural frameworks Sam's been referencing, head over to etherlink.ai and find the full article on Enterprise Agentic AI Development for Utrecht Workflows. Sam, anything final you want to leave people with?
Just this. Agentic AI isn't coming in 2026, it's happening now. If you're in an EU market, especially a regulated industry, you can't wait. Start exploring. Start testing, but start now. The window between early adoption and competitive necessity is closing fast.
Great advice. Thanks so much, Sam. Thanks to everyone listening to EtherLink AI Insights. We'll be back next week with more on what's actually happening in enterprise AI. Until then, keep building.